Everyone thinks influence is about being more persuasive, more charismatic, more alpha, but the people who actually influence others the most, they're not trying to influence anyone at all. And that's exactly why they're so damn good at it. I spent years trying to be more convincing, reading every psychology book, practicing body language in the mirror like some kind of sociopath. And you know what happened? People could smell the desperation from a mile away. It's like when you're trying too hard to be funny. The harder you try, the more awkward it gets. So today, I'm gonna tell you why everything you think you know about influence is backwards, and why the most influential people in your life probably don't even realize they're doing it. Because real influence isn't about getting people to do what you want. It's about something completely different that nobody talks about. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The more you try, the less it works. You're in a meeting, and there's that one person who never raises their voice, never dominates the conversation, but somehow everyone listens when they speak. Meanwhile, there's another person who's clearly read How to Win Friends and Influence People 17 times, using all the techniques, mirroring body language, remembering names, doing the whole song and dance. By the way, if you want me to review that book and share what I really think about it, just drop a comment, and I'll make a video on it. And yet, nobody really gives a shit what they think. The try hard versus the natural. And it's not just in meetings, it's everywhere. Dating, friendships, even with your own family. The more you try to convince someone of something, the more they resist. It's like there's this invisible force field around people that gets stronger the moment they sense you're trying to change their mind. And this is where most of us get stuck. We think influence is about force, about having the right words, the right timing, the right strategy. But that's exactly the trap. Because when you're focused on influencing someone, you're actually focused on yourself, on your agenda, on your need to be right, to be heard, to get your way. And people can feel that energy from across the room. Your brain is wired to resist influence. So what's really happening in your brain when someone tries to influence you? It triggers something called psychological reactance, a kind of mental rebellion system. The moment you sense a threat to your freedom, even a small one, your brain fires off an alarm. Defense mode kicks in, and suddenly you're no longer listening, you're resisting. This response depends on two things: how important that freedom is to you, and how strong the threat feels. The more it matters, and the more obvious the push, the stronger your reactance. It doesn't matter if the intention is good. The brain doesn't ask, is this helpful? It just says, someone's trying to control me, a push back. Reactance has two powerful effects. First, it warps your judgment and perception. You might start seeing the other person as pushy or manipulative, even if they're being kind. Second, it causes behavioral resistance. That can look like disagreement, withdrawal, defiance, even doing the opposite just to prove a point. That's why people tune out sales pitches, ignore advice, or argue harder when they feel pressured. It's not about logic, it's about autonomy. You could present the most rational, well-researched argument on earth and still hit a wall if the other person feels their freedom is being threatened. This is the trap. When we enter a conversation with the goal of changing someone, we're waving a flag that says, you need to be fixed. And their brain, it slams the door. So ironically, the more we try to influence, the more we trigger resistance. Real influence starts when we stop threatening freedom and start respecting it. How I lost trying to help him. I learned this the hard way when I was trying to help my brother quit smoking. I had all the facts, all the statistics, all the perfect arguments. I'd corner him with articles about lung cancer, show him videos of people with oxygen tanks, even calculated how much money he was wasting. And you know what happened? He started smoking more. Out of spite, basically. Our relationship got tense because every conversation became about his smoking. I was so focused on being right, on saving him, that I forgot to actually listen to him. Then one day, I just stopped. I was exhausted from caring more about his health than he did. So instead of trying to convince him of anything, I just started asking questions. Not leading questions, not trap questions. Just genuine curiosity about his experience. What's it like when you're stressed and you don't have cigarettes? What do you think about when you smoke? And something weird happened. He started talking, really talking, about work stress, about feeling overwhelmed, about using cigarettes as this tiny rebellion against all the things he couldn't control. And for the first time, I actually understood why he smoked. I wasn't trying to change him anymore. I was just trying to understand him. And that changed everything. Stop convincing, start understanding instead. So here's what real influence actually looks like. It doesn't start with persuasion techniques, clever arguments, or social hacks. It starts with something much more subtle and much harder: dropping your agenda. Most of us go into conversations with a hidden goal: to convince, correct, or convert. Even when we think we're being helpful, what we're really doing is trying to shape the other person into our version of right. And people can sense that. It creates tension, even if you don't say a single confrontational word. Instead, try this. Go in with one mission: to understand. That's it. Before you say anything, ask yourself, am I here to change this person or to connect with them? Because you can't do both at once. Real influence starts where control ends. So the first practical step is this: kill the agenda. Let go of the outcome. Stop scripting your points and start listening for what's true for them. Influence doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from caring deeper. Step 2. Get curious about their reality. Not your version of their reality. The actual lived experience they're having. Ask follow-up questions that don't steer the conversation. Not, how come you haven't tried X yet? But, what makes that so difficult for you? Or, what's the part of this no one sees? Step 3. Validate their experience. Not to win points, to build trust. Even if you disagree with their conclusions, you can honor their emotions. Say things like, that must feel overwhelming, or I get why you'd be frustrated. Validation isn't agreement, it's acknowledgement. And that's what people are starving for. Step 4. Share from experience, not from authority. Don't say you should. Say, here's what I've noticed in my own life. Or something that helped me, which might not help you, was. This softens defenses and opens doors. And finally, be okay if nothing changes. Seriously, let go of needing a result. Paradoxically, that's when real shifts begin, when the person feels safe enough to explore new perspectives without pressure. Influence starts when you let go. This feels backwards. Everything in you wants to convince people, especially when you care about them. But here's what I've learned. The moment you stop trying to influence someone, you become infinitely more influential. Because influence isn't about changing minds, it's about changing hearts. And hearts don't change through arguments or pressure or clever techniques. They change through connection, understanding, and feeling truly seen. When you focus on understanding someone instead of changing them, something magical happens. They start to trust you. And when people trust you, they actually want to hear what you think. They become curious about your perspective because you were curious about theirs first. It's like this beautiful dance where influence happens naturally, without force, without manipulation, without anyone feeling like they're being sold something. So here's your challenge. Pick one person in your life you've been trying to influence. Maybe it's your partner, your kid, your coworker, whoever. And for the next week, try this. Just try to understand them. Ask questions. Listen to their answers. Validate their experience. Don't try to change anything. Just connect and watch what happens. Comment below and tell me about one person you're going to try this with. And if this hit you the way it hit me, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the best way to influence someone is to stop trying to influence them at all.